Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight, live on KMTV. I'm Bartholomew Hall. Here are your top stories on Monday, the 9th of June. A Kent reformed? Voters in the county's largest supporting town of Reform UK say local issues were forgotten at the election.
A lot of it seems to focus on a feeling of a loss of identity. That seems to be one of the major driving forces.
Green spaces, clear minds. Faversham Community Garden plants seeds of well-being.
It's a kind of it's a holistic, wellness experience, I would say.
And Pride without prejudice. Thousands gather for Kent's biggest Pride celebration in Canterbury.
Pride is like inclusivity, everybody's welcome, no one's judged, it's a judge-free zone.
But first this evening, a little more than a month ago, Reform UK stormed to victory at the Kent County Council elections, winning 57 of the 81 available seats. In the time since, voters have seen the formation of its flagship Doge Group, the man who set it up, then leaving the party, before, as of Saturday night, Zia Youssef returning to head up Kent's cost-cutting team. A rocky start, but with 63% of those who cast a ballot not voting for Nigel Farage's party here in the county. Our local democracy reporter Ollie Leader has been speaking to voters in Romney Marsh to find out why the party won so much control.
They want change, they want it now. They're doing it 5 years' time, they want now. And they voted for the tsunami of reform that's flowing through the marsh, and that's what did it.
It is very clear that something remarkable is happening out there. That's why, on the 1st of May, there was a total and utter rejection of a two-party political system.
They gave a national picture as well as a local picture, and I think that influenced voters immensely.
I think people are depressed. I think people are lacking hope.
Reform, to them, I'm hearing a lot of people say that they seem to be the only other options that they can think of.
Communities like Lydd, where I'm stood right now, turned away in droves from the Conservatives during the local elections. Nearly 4,000 people voted for Reform UK across the entirety of Romney Marsh. The real question then is why? A Ukrainian flag high above new Reform heartland. An irony, given the Reform UK administration's decision to ban such symbols above County Hall. But down below, different realities concern voters here. Something the local vicar for the parish knows all too well.
Well, certainly a number of people who I've spoken to just in general in the community have expressed a sense of fear around an awful lot of aspects of the national picture. A lot of it seems to focus on a feeling of a loss of identity. That seems to be one of the major driving forces.
Romney Marsh, like much of Kent's coast, is on the front lines of the small boat crisis, with migrants being rescued off the shores of one of Kent's most deprived areas. For the former mayor of New Romney, the handling of migration was a core part of Reform's success here in the town.
What they're not seeing at this moment in time from central government are hard and positive things which are having a positive impact. I think particularly, as I said down here, with the boat crossings and the number of them and the scale of them, which is what is frustrating a lot of local people as well.
While the party may have been more visible than their rivals, turnout was low here, with 59% of people not turning up at the ballot box. Despite this, Reform's David Wimble still managed to oust the incumbent Conservative by nearly 3,000 votes.
I want Reform to succeed in one way, because if they don't, my residents are going to get clobbered. So I think at Kent, it's vital they don't screw things up. If reform fail, then that's where I think we could see a certain amount of civil disobedience, even civil unrest.
Fear, desperation, uncertainty. All explanations for an unprecedented upheaval on the Marsh. But none of this will bring any comfort to the political outsiders left behind in Reformland. Ollie Leader in Lead.
Now, new data has shown that Kent has seen a significant rise in exclusions in our schools, with children being removed or suspended from classrooms more than doubling in 5 years. In the 23 to 24 academic year, 107 children were permanently excluded. The year before, only seeing 30 children. Well, Finn is here in the studio now. Finn, take us through this data.
Well, it actually seems to be part of a national trend, Bartholomew. It's been happening since COVID. Experts say that lockdowns, remote learning, social isolation have meant those returning to schools, especially young people in their teenager years, are just really struggling to adapt again to a structured classroom environment. One former head teacher has actually labelled it a teacher crisis. Peter Reid says teachers have a far tougher job than they did before COVID, but getting a hold of teachers is very difficult now, including head teachers. He went on to say there are other issues. Those with special needs are being forced into mainstream schools, and this is backed up by this new data, which shows that just more than 11,000 pupils were suspended in the 18 to 19 academic year, to more than 21,000 last year.
And what are the experts saying that is the most concerning part of this data?
Well, it's actually the amount of very young children who are being suspended. In primary schools here in the county, suspensions have jumped from just below 2,000 to almost 3,500 a year. Now, these children are aged just between 4 and 5 years old, such as Brunswick House Primary in Maidstone, who recorded 39 last year in its reception classes.
And where in Kent are we seeing this is most severe? I know you mentioned one of the schools there.
Yes, so for total permanent exclusions across the county last year, this would be Dartford. We actually have some numbers here you can see here. They've excluded 21 out of the 107 total students across the county. That's mostly from secondary schools, whereas areas like Maidstone, that placed third on the list, had 4 from nursery to year 6 and 9, from 7 to 14, sorry. But this is a problem across Kent, and notably except for Folkestone and Hythe, which had 0 across all schools, with Dover and Thanet recording low numbers. But this is still a very big and interesting data set that really tells us schools are struggling right now.
Well, Finn, thank you very much for bringing us those details. Now over to Faversham, where a community garden that's been making a difference to those struggling with mental health issues. From recently winning the King's Award for its voluntary services to the neighbourhood with the Best Buzz Award. They have everything from beehives to plants to a cafe. Well, to find out more about the service and how gardening is making a difference, Kristen went to visit Abbey Physic.
Gardening isn't just a hobby, but a proven way to boost both your physical and mental health. From getting a dose of vitamin D and exercise, to enjoying fresh air and finding a moment of peace, the benefits are as varied as the plants themselves.
The Abbey Physic Garden has been open for over 30 years now, and throughout that time it's been able to help people with exercise, mental health and well-being, all through the act of gardening. I'm going to have a go at planting, what is this, sweet corn? Yeah. Sweet corn?
I really like it here. I enjoy gardening and talking to different people. It's really helped me with my confidence, learning to talk with different people each week.
But what if you don't have your own green space? Well, that's where community gardens like this one in Faversham come in.
So we'll grow here, we'll cook food, we have singing, we have Tai Chi, we have yoga, all outside. It's a space. Outdoor and gardening is a hobby that just keeps giving. Nothing bad about being in a garden or part of a garden or setting a garden up. It's just a win-win-win all through, and it's just incredible what can happen on a little bit of space. It doesn't have to be good.
One worker here is currently on placement as part of her occupational therapy degree. She says gardening offers a wide range of holistic benefits.
I think for a lot of people the thought of, well definitely for me, the thought of going to the gym and doing something sweaty and hard work and difficult is really intimidating. But actually when you're focused and you're engaged in growing something and nurturing something, you're not realising all the steps you're doing, all the different bending and lifting that you're doing. And so it's passive in one way, but it's actually really effective, good mobilisation, and you're using all of those balance skills all the time. And I think it's just, it's a kind of it's a holistic wellness experience, I would say.
The organisation itself has received numerous awards for its work, including the prestigious King's Award for Voluntary Service last year.
It has so many roles in the community, supporting people with mental health issues massively, getting in contact with nature, having time for yourself, making connections, I suppose, with nature and with people as well.
In today's world, places like Abbey Physic are vital to communities as it provides a place of comfort and solitude. So whether you're planting tomatoes, flowers, or just cutting the grass at home, or as part of a community, gardening might just be the breath of fresh air you need this summer. Kristen Hawthorne for KMTV in Faversham.
Time for a short break now, but coming up we'll be taking a look at all of Kent's sporting headlines ahead of a new episode of Invicta Sport this evening. And earlier we spoke to Jim Widdett, who is the operations manager at Kent Trading Standards, about the recent disposable vape ban. A week after the ban came into force, Kent Trading Standards has been sending patrols around the county to find out which stores are breaking the rules and stopping them. Well, we'll be hearing just how well that operation has been going after the break. See you soon.
The Kent Politics Show, live on KMTV. Join us every week with an array of guests.
I think the boundary changes have changed a great deal in Kent.
The Conservative administration have delivered the lowest council tax in Kent. We will continue to do that.
Discussing the things that matter most to you.
People do feel like they've been ignored by this government.
We do need something else to supplement wind and solar.
Catch the Kent Politics Show, only on KMTV.
Become a Kent Online subscriber for unlimited access to award-winning journalism from across the county. Browse the premium version of our website with no intrusive ads for uninterrupted scrolling on your desktop, mobile or tablet. Enjoy unrivaled coverage of news, sport and leisure in Kent, including content exclusive to subscribers. Read fascinating features in our in-depth section and head down memory lane by delving into our decades archive. Keep up to date with politics in Kent and Westminster and the latest on and off the field with our extensive sports coverage, including specialist Gills reporting. Enjoy weekly digital editions of all KM titles and swipe for the same page-turning experience as the newspaper. Download, share and print out the pages you want and tackle fun puzzles such as crosswords and Sudoku. Plus, unlock our extensive archive of past papers stretching back more than 10 years. Becoming a subscriber is easy. Visit kentonline.co.uk and click the subscribe tab at the top right of the screen. Choose the package that suits you with options to pay monthly or annually. Once you've signed up, check your email for a thank you message from us and details on how to get the most out of our subscription. Kent Online, news you can trust.
Hospital visits will be dramatically reduced.
And there's something about time in Imagining Autism, I call it a nowhere.
I completely adapted to being a hidden away rural homeless person. The system can't and doesn't cope with rural homelessness at all.
And I think that's a big barrier to young disabled people in terms of their aspirations and accessing science.
I think the Eco-Parakeet is a great symbol for what we should be doing on Mauritius, what we can do elsewhere in the world.
This is like a picture of me and my cousins when we was in Albania back to my nan's house.
Mirë, vëmë tek me menu me menjen tonë edhe me pa momentin e dur që kur me ik edhe policisë.
Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight live on KMTV. Double amputee Tony Hudgell from West Malling's been gifted a signed football shirt from David Beckham. The 10-year-old was sent the signed Inter Miami shirt by the club's owner as a way to cheer him up after what had been a tough week. It followed the news that Tony's birth mother, who was sent to prison after subjecting Tony to awful abuse when he was a baby, will be released from prison. Well, Tony's adoptive mother, Paula Hudgell, said the surprise had lifted their family's spirits after what had been a challenging week. A large armed police response was deployed across Tunbridge Wells after what turned out to be a false alarm. Firearms officers using drones and vehicles, including a police helicopter, were spotted in various areas across the town. A spokesperson for Kent Police said the force was called just after 9 a.m. on Sunday to reports a man from Tunbridge Wells had been displaying concerning behaviour. Well, armed patrols were sent out. It was later established the call was a false alarm. Homes in West Malling have been left without power this afternoon after a tractor crashed into an electricity cable. UK Power Networks says it first became aware of the outage just before 2 p.m. and is doing everything it can to get power back quickly. It's understood around 15 properties in the area have been affected. A police spokesperson said minor injuries were reported following the crash. Over to sport now. From a defeat from the Kent Spitfires on Canterbury to a win for them on Sunday, and the Maidstone biker who's had thousands of pounds raised for him after a severe injury during the Isle of Man TT. There's plenty going on in Kent's sporting world, so here's Finn McDermott.
Hello there. Now for your first story. A motorcycle racer from Maidstone who says he's extremely grateful after thousands of pounds was raised for his recovery from a high-speed crash at the Isle of Man TT. This is the moment Tom Whedon lost control of his bike before hitting a barrier feet first. The 31-year-old was airlifted to hospital and has since undergone reconstructive surgery. Despite now being faced with a long recovery, he says he's determined to return to the competition next year. Bartholomew spoke with Tom earlier. A warning, the following clip contains descriptions viewers might find distressing.
The crash happened and I was there on the side of the road with my bone sticking out of my boot of my leg. Yeah, getting air medded over to Nobles. They looked after me really well there, and we obviously had the first surgery there on the ankle to put an external fixator on it, clean up all any because it was a compound fracture, anything that came out of the body. Yeah, put it back together the best they could there, and then I think I spent 3 or 4 days in Nobles before they air-medded me back over to Aintree for the surgery to get the metalwork put in there. To be honest, it's just been a constant fight with pain relief, to be honest. I've been in a lot of pain. So I've been obviously just trying to get the dose right and get the meds right and how we deal with it. But I'm feeling very exhausted with it all, to be honest. But yeah, I crashed, I took the risk, and here I am. I've got to pay the consequences, I suppose, haven't I?
And we'll have that full interview on Invicta Sport with Bartholomew just after this. Now, it was a victory for the Kent Spitfires after Zach Crawley hit an unbeaten half-century to earn the side a 9-wicket win against the Hampshire Hawks on Sunday. It follows disappointment last Friday when the Spitfires lost out against Surrey County by 42 runs. But just before heading off for England duty, Crawley made 75 not out off 43 balls, helping the Spitfires beat the Hawks by 8 wickets. Here's the 27-year-old batsman speaking after the match.
Yeah, absolutely. The boys on a bit of, we've got some momentum, and we feel like we're a good team in this comp. So we know if we play well, we can beat anyone. Surrey are a good team, but if we play well, we know we can win. So it's just great playing with Kent, some of my best mates in the world, playing this team, and I get to spend time with them, and always want to come back and play for Kent, spend time with them, and spend time with all the boys, to be honest. And it's always nice to get a couple of nice knocks and contribute to a win. It feels nice.
Now in football, Bradley Dack says he's got unfinished business at Gillingham after a frustrating past season. The 31-year-old recently signed a new 1-year contract. He told Kent Online he hopes the next season brings with it promotion out of League Two. The Gills ended the season sitting 17th in the table, with things looking on the up, having finished with an unbeaten streak of 12 games. It comes as the Gills have also extended the contracts of former Charlton midfielder Ewan Williams and left-back Max Clark. And don't forget, as the transfer window continues, you can catch all the latest at Kent Online. But did you also know you can have your weekly digest of Gill's news sent directly to your email inbox? Just search Kent Online email alerts and sign up on the website for all the latest written transfer news, match reports and interviews. And if the Gills isn't your cup of tea, well, there's plenty more email alerts to choose from, including all the latest non-league football news too. And finally, Kent's double Olympic champion, Dame Kelly Holmes, has called on the government to bring the World Athletics Championship to London for 2029. In an open letter with more than 100 supporters, including Holmes, Sir Mo Farah and Dame Jessica Ennis-Hill, they say it's a rare chance to inspire the nation and create a lasting legacy. The letter outlines plans for the championships to be funded during 2028, with £45 million needed, but a projected economic boost of over £400 million. Well, that's all for this week's Sports Bulletin, but as always, you can catch all that sports news and more on Invicta Sport right after Kent Tonight.
And as Finn said there, plenty more to come on Invicta Sport this evening. Now, though, time to take a look at the weather. Well, this evening's looking rather mild with partly cloudy weather coating the night skies. Temperatures around the mid-teens. As we go into tomorrow morning, the clouds taking over across Kent with temperatures rising to around 16 and 17. As we go into the afternoon, staying rather cloudy for most of us. Temperatures just dipping into the 20s, highs of 21 in Maidstone and Dartford. And as we go towards the rest of the week, things are hottening up as we reach Friday, where we'll see highs of 25 degrees, clouds staying firmly in the sky though. Looking rather lovely after the weekend's wet weather that we had, isn't it? Now, Kent Trading Standards says officers have been patrolling every district in the county to hunt down businesses continuing to sell or supply disposable vapes. It comes a week after the UK-wide ban came into effect with the aim of reducing the effect of single-use vapes have on the environment. Well, I caught up with Jim Widdett, the operations manager at Kent Trading Standards, earlier. Hi Jim, thank you for joining us on Kent Tonight this evening. It's good to have you here. So it's been more than a week now since the disposable vape ban has come into effect. What sort of job is that tasked with your team at Kent Trading Standards with?
Okay, so we're quite fortunate within Kent Trading Standards because we've got a vape team. But in response to the new ban that came in, we actually had more of the service going out and about last Monday, so that we covered all the 12 districts across Kent to go and see what was actually going on.
For many people, they weren't expecting too much change. Of course, this is the disposable vapes that have been banned, but reusable ones are still sort of stocking the shelves, and we're still seeing those sort of different flavours, for example, being advertised on the side of buildings. But the main, on the side of shops, sorry, but the main idea behind this was to actually cut some of the environmental impacts of vaping, so to see less litter. What have we sort of seen in the first week of it?
Okay, so I mean, you're dead right. So the changes in the legislation bring in the fact that you've got to have a rechargeable battery, a refillable tank, or a pod system that can be moved on and off, and replacing wadding and coil. So the other thing that we're also telling businesses is they must have a recycling scheme as well for those vapes that don't work anymore. So it's a bit early days yet to see that kind of change coming through onto the litter that you've just mentioned. But you can't now buy a single-use vape. It's got to be reusable.
And there are a few sort of loopholes that we're seeing, not the shops, but the actual producers of vapes being able to sort of use in order to still sell some of those products that were similar from before. You said there about the rechargeable batteries. We're now seeing some vapes being stocked that simply have charging points in them rather than those pods, right?
And that would mean it wouldn't be currently legal. So obviously, if the team find those, then there's different measures within the legislation as well. So there's there's quite a few different notices we can issue, and the team have been issuing some of those during the week. And we can also, if in the right circumstances, issue a fixed penalty notice. So there is a variety depending on what we find. And obviously, if there are devices out there that are incorrect, then we can take that, we can seize them, remove them from the marketplace, and then follow that up with the manufacturers and importers.
And tell us a bit more about the work that has been going out in all of the districts, because I know you've had 81 visits, which has seen 6 seizures and 10 of those notices. For those businesses that have received notices, what will it mean for them going forward?
Okay, so it depends on the notice. So the majority of notices that we've issued are intention compliance notices, and that means that within 28 days as a service, we've got to go back and see if the business has followed that advice and guidance we've given them to become compliant. And then other notices like a stop notice, that activity must stop right now, and that's for more serious issues. And they're the ones that we've issued at the moment. So the legislation requires us to go back 28 days later.
And of course, one of the services that you're offering now for people, if they recognise a business that they are concerned might be doing a bit of dodgy selling, they can actually get in touch with you to sort of let you know.
Yep, so we've got an email address that people can ping us to, and that's vapes@kent.gov.uk, and that goes straight through to the vape team. So as we've had more officers out and about, Monday of last week, the dedicated vape team are still there doing their job on a daily basis, going out and about. So if consumers see something they're not sure of, or if a business wants some further advice and guidance, if they drop us a line on that email, we'll get in contact.
Well, Jim, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been really good to speak with you.
Thank you very much.
Well, time for a break now, but plenty more still to come on the programme this evening. You know how much we love a national day here on KMTV. Well, to talk about Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day, yep, that's right, it is a real one. We're going to be joined by Great British Bake Off star Hazel Vaughan from Kent to maybe break down how her journey on the show was. All that and plenty more after this.
The Kent Politics Show, live on KMTV. Join us every week with an array of guests.
I think the boundary changes have changed a great deal in Kent.
The Conservative administration have delivered the lowest council tax in Kent. We will continue to do that.
Discussing the things that matter most to you.
People do feel like they've been ignored by this government.
We do need something else to supplement wind and solar.
Catch the Kent Politics Show, only on KMTV.
Become a Kent Online subscriber for unlimited access to award-winning journalism from across the county. Browse the premium version of our website with no intrusive ads for uninterrupted scrolling on your desktop, mobile or tablet. Enjoy unrivaled coverage of news, sport and leisure in Kent, including content exclusive to subscribers. Read fascinating features in our in-depth section and head down memory lane by delving into our decades archive. Keep up to date with politics in Kent and Westminster and the latest on and off the field with our extensive sports coverage, including specialist Gills reporting. Enjoy weekly digital editions of all KM titles and swipe for the same page-turning experience as the newspaper. Download, share and print out the pages you want and tackle fun puzzles such as crosswords and Sudoku. Plus, unlock our extensive archive of past papers stretching back more than 10 years. Becoming a subscriber is easy. Visit kentonline.co.uk and click the subscribe tab at the top right of the screen. Choose the package that suits you with options to pay monthly or annually. Once you've signed up, check your email for a thank you message from us and details on how to get the most out of our subscription. Kent Online, news you can trust.
Hospital visits will be dramatically reduced.
And there's something about time in Imagining Autism, I call it a nowhere.
I completely adapted to being a hidden away rural homeless person. The system can't and doesn't cope with rural homelessness at all.
And I think that's a big barrier to young disabled people in terms of their aspirations and accessing science.
I think the Equiparakeet is a great symbol for what we should be doing on Mauritius, what we can do elsewhere in the world.
This is like a picture of me and my cousins when we was in Albania back to my nan's house.
Mirë, vëmë të keme me menu me menjen tonë edhe me pa momentin e dur që kur me ik edhe policisë.
Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight, live on KMTV. I'm Bartholomew Hall. A reminder of your top stories this evening. A Kent reformed? Voters in Kent's largest supporting town of reform say local issues were forgotten at the election. Green spaces, clear minds. Faversham Community Garden plants the seeds of well-being. And Canterbury Pride. Hundreds gather to celebrate the county's largest Pride celebration in the city. Now, our top story this evening. A little over a month ago, Reform UK stormed to victory at the Kent County Council elections, winning 57 of the 81 available seats. Well, in the time since, voters have seen the formation of a Doge group, the man who set it up then leaving the party, before, as of Saturday night, Zia Youssef returned to head up Kent's cost-cutting group. But with 63% of the electorate here not voting for Nigel Farage's party, our local democracy reporter Ollie Leader has been speaking to voters in Romney Marsh to find out why the party won so much control.
They want change, they want it now. They're doing it 5 years' time, they want now. And they voted for the tsunami of reform that's flowing through the marsh, and that's what did it.
It is very clear that something remarkable is happening out there. That's why on the 1st of May there was a total and utter rejection of a two-party political system.
They gave a national picture as well as a local picture, and I think that influenced voters immensely.
I think people are depressed. I think people are lacking hope.
Reform to them, I'm hearing a lot of people say that they seem to be the only other options that they can think of.
Communities like Lydd, where I'm stood right now, turned away in droves from the Conservatives during the local elections. Nearly 4,000 people voted for Reform UK across the entirety of Romney Marsh. The real question then is why.
A Ukrainian flag high above new Reform heartland. An irony, given the Reform UK administration's decision to ban such symbols above County Hall. But down below, different realities concern voters here. Something the local vicar for the parish knows all too well.
Well, certainly a number of people who I've spoken to just in general in the community have expressed a sense of fear around an awful lot of aspects of the national picture. A lot of it seems to focus on a feeling of a loss of identity. That seems to be one of the major driving forces.
Romney Marsh, like much of Kent's coast, is on the front lines of the small boat crisis, with migrants being rescued off the shores of one of Kent's most deprived areas. For the former mayor of New Romney, the handling of migration was a core part of Reform's success here in the town.
What they're not seeing at this moment in time from central government are hard and positive things which are having a positive impact. I think particularly, as I said down here, with the boat crossings and the number of them and the scale of them, which is what is frustrating a lot of local people as well.
While the party may have been more visible than their rivals, turnout was low here, with 59% of people not turning up at the ballot box. Despite this, Reform's David Wimble still managed to oust the incumbent Conservative by nearly 3,000 votes.
I want Reform to succeed in one way, because if they don't, my residents are going to get clobbered. So I think at Kent, it's vital they don't screw things up. If Reform fail, then that's where I think we could see a certain amount of civil disobedience, even civil unrest.
Fear, desperation, uncertainty. All explanations for an unprecedented upheaval on the marsh. But none of this will bring any comfort to the political outsiders left behind in Reformland. Ollie Leader in Lead.
Now, fears have been raised over whether cargo ships are sailing too close to an explosive-filled shipwreck off the coast of Sheppey. This WEC Lines vessel was pictured sailing close to the infamous SS Richard Montgomery. It's since been confirmed the boat had not breached the exclusion zone, but questions have been left around the safety of the shipping lane after a new no-fly zone was implemented over the area in May. Staying with the island of Sheppey, because there was a very special visit from television royalty this weekend. Danny and Danny Dyer, who are running for a new reality TV show, hosted an open day at Priory Hill Holiday Park in Laysdown. Well, the two were seen taking selfies and pictures with excited members of the public for the official opening of the holiday park. It's all part of their new show, which will follow the family as they take over the business, including Priory Hill and its sister site Nuts Farm. One attendee commented, "It's really positive to have the Dyers here and will be bringing the park some great attention." One we'll be watching out for sure. Now, next this evening, something a little bit unique, maybe something delicious for you. You might not know, but today is Strawberry Rhubarb Pie Day. Yep, that's right, it is a real thing. With mid-May and early June marking the start of the rhubarb harvest, the day is all about celebrating one of the vegetable's most loved uses. Well, joining me now is someone who is no stranger to baking, former Bake Off contestant and Westbrook local, Hazel Vaughan. Hazel, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's lovely to have you on on Kent Tonight this evening. First of all, there you are. You are on the screen now. First of all, strawberry rhubarb pie, is it one that you've attempted before? Because it is a lovely looking dessert. We've got some pictures to show. I've forgot mine this evening.
Yes, yeah, I have. I've made it before. It's lovely. Really, really nice. You've got the sweetness of the strawberries and then the sharpness of the rhubarb.
It is a really lovely sight, isn't it? And
it is like, yes, yeah, I make the lattice top as well. Lovely.
I think that's the most iconic part of it, that lovely lattice top when it goes and it's nice and crispy, and it's a lovely taste. What are some of the things that you would what are all the tips for making it? Because I know that when you're trying to make a pastry that looks so lovely like the strawberry rhubarb, it can sometimes go a little bit wrong.
Yes, it can. You need to put some corn flour and obviously sugar in with the fruit, which keeps it all together as well, rather than it's not too runny then.
Well, I'll keep it in mind. We've got the tips from the expert here this evening. Look, it's been a while since you were on Great British Bake Off. How did you find the whole experience?
It was quite daunting, really, and very. It was quite tiring as well, being on there, because you're there in the more early hours of the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 at night. So that to go into that tent is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Some pretty long days there. I think it's. I know you're a grandmother. You have a big family behind you as you went on to the show. I think a lot of people would sort of say they've got someone in their family that's good at baking. Give it a go. What was it that made you apply for the show?
Everybody's been saying to me for years I should apply, and I just thought I wouldn't get on. So, but eventually I just thought, well, I'll just go for it. And I got on. So
we've got a clip of you there. Was there a particular highlight from your time on the show?
Yes, making my handbag was really, but everything else seemed to be a disaster.
Well, I think that's the thing that people enjoy about the show, isn't it? Because it feels real. It feels like we're just seeing people that we know baking, and I think that's kind of the fun part of baking, isn't it? It brings people together.
Yes, oh, definitely, yes. I mean, of course, the first technical that we did on the programme, they'd never done it before. They didn't give us a recipe at all. We just had to make 8 Battenbergs without a recipe.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, that does sound daunting.
No.
What's been the response from your family since being on the show? Have they expected more from you in the kitchen?
Oh, No, not really. I think, you know, I make cakes and I say, do you want some? And they're all a bit, no, we're okay, thank you. But I do bake for my local bakers every day. I bake for them.
Oh, that's...
Crumbs and Deli in Westgate. Yeah, I bake for them.
That's absolutely lovely. What sort of things?
Friday.
Yeah, what sort of things are you baking for them?
I make chocolate brownies. I make scones. Tottenham slice. She has fresh cream Friday, so I make coffee eclairs, chocolate eclairs, cream slices. Count anything. I do cinnamon buns, Belgian buns.
That's incredible. I mean, you're making me hungry just thinking about it all. And what lovely way as well to support the local bakers as well, because, you know, of course, it's not an easy time for them at the moment with costs rising here and there.
No, I know. Yeah, and she's not long had it. She's had it since October, I think, and she's doing really well there. So.
Oh, great stuff. Well, people will have to
bake for her most days.
Well, I'd love to try some of your baking, so maybe it's one to look out for. Hazel, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure to speak with you, and wish you all the best in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
I am feeling very hungry now. Right, time for a break. We'll have plenty more, including a roundup of this year's Canterbury Pride after the break.
The Kent Politics Show, live on KMTV. Join us every week with an array of guests.
I think the boundary changes have changed a great deal in Kent.
The Conservative administration have delivered the lowest council tax in Kent. We will continue to do that.
Discussing the things that matter most to you.
People do feel like they've been ignored by this government.
We do need something else to supplement wind and solar.
Catch the Kent Politics Show, only on KMTV.
Become a Kent Online subscriber for unlimited access to award-winning journalism from across the county. Browse the premium version of our website with no intrusive ads for uninterrupted scrolling on your desktop, mobile or tablet. Enjoy unrivaled coverage of news, sport and leisure in Kent, including content exclusive to subscribers. Read fascinating features in our in-depth section and head down memory lane by delving into our decades archive. Keep up to date with politics in Kent and Westminster and the latest on and off the field with our extensive sports coverage, including specialist Gills reporting. Enjoy weekly digital editions of all KM titles and swipe for the same page-turning experience as the newspaper. Download, share and print out the pages you want and tackle fun puzzles such as crosswords and Sudoku. Plus, unlock our extensive archive of past papers stretching back more than 10 years. Becoming a subscriber is easy. Visit kentonline.co.uk and click the subscribe tab at the top right of the screen. Choose the package that suits you with options to pay monthly or annually. Once you've signed up, check your email for a thank you message from us and details on how to get the most out of our subscription. Kent Online, news you can trust.
Hospital visits will be dramatically reduced.
And there's something about time in Imagining Autism, I call it a nowhere.
I completely adapted to being a hidden away rural homeless person. The system can't and doesn't cope with rural homelessness at all.
And I think that's a big barrier to young disabled people in terms of their aspirations and accessing science.
I think the Equiparakeet is a great symbol for what we should be doing on Mauritius, what we can do elsewhere in the world.
This is like a picture of me and my cousins when we was in Albania back to my nan's house.
Mirë, vëmë të keme me menu me menjen tonë edhe me pa momentin e dur që kur me ik edhe policisë.
Welcome back to Kent Tonight, live on KMTV. Now, Canterbury Pride has celebrated its 10th festival gathering from hundreds across Kent and even across the country to celebrate their identities, while setting up in the Westgate Gardens this time due to construction happening at the normal site. Along with some rainy weather, the show all went on despite the challenges, featuring a parade through Canterbury High Street, a new Pride post office and many, many rainbows. Our reporter Kai Wei went down to the event to find out more.
June marked the start of Pride Month, a month taken to celebrate everyone in the LGBTQIA+ community, and here in Kent, there aren't a short of celebrations. Now, despite the gloomy weather, it seems nothing is going to rain down on this parade. As you can see, hundreds are lining the streets to celebrate Canterbury Pride. Canterbury Pride is one of the county's biggest celebrations for this month, and this year will be their 10th one, although it looks quite different to the others, as this year they've had to move due to construction.
We've got a temporary home over here in the Westgate Gardens, but it's still as busy. We're seeing thousands of people coming. It's more of a festival kind of feel, so we're actually in two parts of the Westgate Gardens. We've got Bit and Toddler's Cove, which is a lot of our family stalls, we've got bouncy castles, people like Kent Fire and Rescue and the police. We've got a wedding chapel where people can come and get unofficially married. We've got an area where you can write a note to yourself and we'll send it back to you in the future. And so it's just a really lovely, calm, friendly vibe today.
While I was there, I also asked people at the event what Pride means to them. What does Pride mean to you?
Everything. It's showing up for yourself and it's showing up for your community.
Pride is like inclusivity, everybody's welcome, you know, no one's judged, it's a judge-free zone.
It's a protest. It's really important that we keep Pride like a positive, welcoming space for everybody, because it's the sort of thing that a lot of people here don't get that a lot of the year round.
Acceptance, visibility and kind of being who you are.
Someone to come where they feel comfortable and appreciate love is love at the end of the day.
Pride is really important to us because we're an inclusive organisation.
I feel like I'm with people that know kind of what I'm going through in a way, and how proud it is to be different, that you don't have to hide yourself.
In a time when politically and socially it's a bit tenuous at the moment, it's nice that we can be visible. It's about putting on a bit of colour, coming out and reminding people that we still need to carry on. Whilst we've come so far and a lot of people are very grateful, we still have to keep those rights and keep pushing for the rights of those who are less, you know, who don't have as many as we do.
It's clear that this festival was more than just a rainbow of colours, as Canterbury stands together with pride. Kai Wei for KMTV in Canterbury.
Oh, some joyous scenes there in Canterbury. Now, time to bring you all the latest business news from across Kent, including the redevelopment of a former university and a Victorian pub for sale. Our Business Roundup has all the details.
First up in this week's Business Roundup, there are new plans to transform Rochester University of Creative Arts into a £20 million housing scheme. The empty art college, branded as an ugly blot on the landscape, has now been given the yes. The college was home to some of the most talented names in the art and fashion world. It was brought to a close in 2023 due to spiralling costs and cuts to the government funding, and has since been relocated to Canterbury and Surrey. But now we'll have a different look, as a London-based entrepreneur will build new apartments with Medway Council approval to build a luxury redevelopment. Next up, a jewellery brand plans to move into a former phone shop. The shop was previously occupied by the O2. Bosses at Warren James have made the application to move into the vacant unit at the St James Shopping Centre in Dover. 2 applications were submitted to Dover District Council for a bid, one for new signs and the other for shopfront. This means there is now 215 stores across the UK, including 5 in Kent alone. Finally, in Lee, a Victoria pub is on the market for purchase. The pub Fleur de Lis is up for sale from the current owner and chain Green King. The building is priced at £475,000 by estate agents, the Florette. That's all for this week's Business Roundup.
stuff there and plenty more on those stories available at Kent Online's business page. Now though, time to take a look at the forecast again for the coming days. Well, this evening's looking rather mild, partly cloudy weather coating the night skies, temperatures around the mid-teens too. As we go into tomorrow morning, the clouds taking over across the county, temperatures rising to around the 16 and 17 degree mark. And as we go into the afternoon, highs of 21 expected, some sun peeking through the clouds up in the north of the county. And here's your outlook as we go towards the rest of the week. Hotting up as we go towards Friday, 25 degrees is your high, but clouds staying firmly in the skies. Well, someone who was hoping for a bit of sunny weather at the weekend, one of our reporters has swapped the studio for the fields of Surrey. Kristen took on a mud run organised by the Kent, Surrey and Sussex Air Ambulance. She managed to clean off and joins me now in the studio. And we've got a picture of you here. You look very, very muddy. Take us through the thoughts behind this. Why would you put yourself through this?
Well, I just did it because I don't often do too much around the area. You know, I didn't grow up here or anything, so like to kind of explore aside from work, I thought it'd be quite fun. You know, OCD, taking on the drive, doing something like this where I have quite a perfectionist mindset, just to get covered in muck, it was quite good. And as you can see, I did have a good time. Yes, these are the pictures. This was before. I thought this photo was so funny. I asked a man to take it and he made my forehead look massive. But yeah, this was me after. That was the professional photo that they took. You can see the GoPro, which did actually run out of charge.
Oh yeah.
Those are my shoes.
Those are your shoes. Look at that. I mean, you did get yourself absolutely stuck in. I mean, this is something that I know you've spoken about before, but you did get yourself completely stuck in with the mud. And was that a challenge?
It was. So they had obstacles as well. So you did like monkey bars, and do you know, a quarter of the way through, I thought it was done. I was like, oh, this is easy, 7 kilometres, this is fine. Right. I was dancing all, that was, yeah, it wasn't over. And then...
Had to do it 3 more times.
Exactly, exactly. And then there was big, deep things of mud. It was like clay, nearly, like watery clay. And then you had to like go up like big hills of muck, so you had on your hands and knees going up. I don't know, it was mental.
And you got the way through. You got a lovely medal there. We should have asked you to bring it in with you today, but no, I mean, you must be very proud of yourself for getting through it.
I am, yeah. I mean, I was smiling when I crossed the finish line. They were like, you look very happy. And I was like, yeah, because it's over.
Okay, great. And that's why you're still smiling there, I assume, as well.
Yeah.
And, of course, for an important cause as well, a little bit of money raised for Air Ambulance charity, Kent, Surrey, Sussex.
Yeah, I didn't raise too much. What did I do? I did about £60. So hopefully now that people have seen that I've actually done it, I'll get a little bit more. But I was sort of I spoke to some people that were on the same pace as me, and I interviewed them after. So hopefully we can hear from them now if it's working okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a laugh. You've got to have a strong nose though. Grip-on shoes is useful as well. Like I did it in barefoot shoes, and they were like.
Yeah,
really good
and definitely motivation to get working out the upper body as well. So.
Yeah. We were just saying the last one. There was one where like you hook some rings over the different bars, and none of us could do it. So we're going to come back and try and do
work out a little bit, and then come back again.
Well, I think the thing you notice from that is that everybody has a big smile on their face. Yeah. Was that the general feel around the place? Nobody sort of, getting to the end, nobody lost their spirits even if they were covered in the mucky stuff? Exactly.
I mean, even the people that were complaining, there was sort of, what do you call them, like people that stood at each of the obstacles to make sure people were safe.
Like the marshals.
Yes, that's the word. When people were passing, people were complaining, they're saying, you never stop complaining all this here. So it was good fun. After one of the obstacles, people were giving me jelly babies and all.
Oh, nice. That helpful? Was it keep you going?
It was. I was thinking of the sugar when I was running.
Yeah. I took on one of these mud runs once, and I think I got sort of about a quarter of the way through, and I was just thinking I really want some pasta. That was my craving, but the jelly babies did the work for you, kept you
You need
energetic.
something. You need the sugar for sure. But yeah, I mean, it was brilliant fun. Something that I'd never done before. I have never ran a race or anything at all. I didn't even think I was sporty. But then after that, I just thought, yeah, I had a lot of energy. I mean, I just kept running.
The before and after is great. I mean, look at that. So that's the same top.
Yes.
Right, that was bright red, and now it's completely covered and it's brown. Yeah, it's a shame about the GoPro footage. We'd love to have had a look at that, but yeah, completely covered in it. Do you think you'll take on something like this again in the future?
Well, I think so the people that were running behind me, they were very funny, but he said he's taken on one called Tough Mudder.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, I think he's doing that in London in September, so I might do something like that, although it's a lot longer.
How long was this one in comparison?
This was 7 kilometres.
Okay, yep, 7.
So this was the short one, but I think the Tough Mudder one is like nearly 14 or 10 at the lowest. So
goodness me, I mean, you'd be fine at a park run on a muddy day, because I know that sometimes makes people go, oh no, I'm not going to do the park run today. But clearly, after I've done this, you can run through anything. Yeah. Have you done much running in the past? Is this a new hobby of yours?
I used to do a little bit years ago when I was maybe like 18 or something, but nothing like that since. I've been a bit lazy recently, to be honest. But yeah, I thought it was good to get it kick-started, do something like this. And now I'm a bit addicted to getting medals, so I'm like, get me another one.
That's the thing. I mean, we've got Invicta Sport coming up after the break, and there's an interview in there with Kent Online editor Phil Hayes, who spoke to me about his sub-3-hour marathon attempt, and he did succeed, but he was telling me some of the tricks and tips that he did to get there. So, and he was telling me all about the fact that he's done one, and he's just, you know, he's sort of addicted to it now and wants to carry on doing it. So maybe you could be our Tough mud running reporter.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Kristen, thank you very much for joining us. Good to hear, and congratulations on the run.
Thanks.
Right, you've been watching Kent Tonight Live on KMTV. Plenty more throughout the evening on the channel. We'll see you tomorrow with more news made for Kent. Bye bye.